Welcome to today's explainer. Okay, we are jumping right in today because we're looking at something incredibly refreshing and honestly highly relevant to our crazy, fast paced lives. We're breaking down a beautiful, ancient feeling folktale sourced from Wisdom of Hope. And let me tell you, it holds a pretty radical anti hustle lesson for all of us. It's the story of Amma, and it is an absolute masterclass in the contentment mindset. So, what does it actually take to be truly happy? It's the ultimate philosophical question, right? I really want you to ask yourself right now, does true happiness actually come from endless accumulation? From constantly upgrading our lives, expanding our businesses, watching our bank accounts grow? Or does it come from something much, much simpler? Well, this explainer is definitely going to challenge the way you view success. Let's set the scene a bit. Picture a simple cottage near rolling green hills, a gentle stream, and a whispering fence. This is where we meet Amma. She's a kind, warm, elderly woman who walked with a cane. Now, her husband had passed away and she didn't have any children, but she absolutely wasn't alone. She had this fiercely loyal little sidekick named Poppy. Poppy was a small hen with these soft white feathers, black spots on her wings, and a little red comb, and they would just walk slowly together everywhere, with Poppy clucking softly, almost like she was adding her own 2 cents to their daily conversations. Number 1. Every single morning, as the sun painted the sky in these vibrant oranges and pinks, Poppy would lay exactly one warm, smooth egg. Just one. And honestly, that number perfectly sums up Amma's entire philosophy on life. One hen, one egg, one beautifully simple life. She didn't want more. She found perfect balance in this quiet daily rhythm. Amma's mindset was just brilliantly simple. She would gently hold that single egg in her wrinkled hands and whisper, "One is enough, my dear. May we always have just what we need." Then she'd boil the egg, eat half of it for breakfast, and purposefully save the other half for dinner. She spent her days tending her small garden, growing her own vegetables, and living with this absolute total peace in her heart. The second egg. Number 2. So suddenly, everything changes. Every great story has an inciting incident, right? Well, for Amma, her perfectly balanced routine gets totally disrupted. One day, Poppy lays 2 eggs instead of 1. Now, how does Amma react to literally a 100% increase in her daily yield? Does she panic? Does she immediately start doing the math on potential profits? Nope, not at all. She simply blinks, smiles, and calmly whispers, "Well, now that's generous." She cooks her usual 1 egg, and then she takes the second one straight down to the market. And I love this detail from the source. She didn't ask for a lot. She traded that extra egg for just a handful of rice and a small piece of sweet jaggery. That's it. The pressure for more. So, outside Amma's cottage, a totally new reality starts to set in. Because, let's face it, the world outside doesn't exactly operate on contentment. The villagers start to notice this daily surplus and quickly bring all the anxieties of modern hustle culture right to Amma's peaceful doorstep. We're looking at a clash of 2 completely different mindsets here. On one side, you have Amma's philosophy, one for me, one to share. It's a radical choice that puts peace way above profit. But on the other side, you have the villager's mindset. Think bigger, make a business. Because Poppy kept laying 2 eggs each morning, the villagers just couldn't wrap their heads around why Amma wasn't maximizing her output. They saw this huge opportunity for scale and domination, while Amma just saw an opportunity for simple generosity. The villagers' advice escalates incredibly fast. Step 1, feed Poppy more so she'll give 3 eggs. Step 2, get 10 hens. Step 3, start a massive business. It's that classic slippery slope of greed and endless expansion. But Amma, she warmly resisted all this unsolicited business consulting. She just smiled and said, "That's enough." Instead of scaling up, she started quietly giving the extra eggs to a poor family, or to school children walking home, or she'd just leave them on someone's doorstep. The villagers were completely charmed by her stubborn kindness, and they actually affectionately nicknamed her Egg Amma. The monsoon strikes. Those peaceful days in the town are suddenly shattered by a severe crisis. The rain fell incredibly hard for days on end. Remember that gentle stream? Well, it completely overflowed. Then the fields were entirely washed away. And finally, the inevitable happened. Families in the town fell into some really difficult times. It's wild how it shows just how quickly a community can become vulnerable when disaster hits. Food became super scarce, and real panic started to set in. But throughout all of this chaos, Poppy had kept faithfully laying her 2 eggs a day. Now, because Amma had completely refused to scale up her lifestyle and sell off everything for profit, she had actually been saving her surplus. She boiled those eggs, she pickled them, and during this terrible disaster, she just handed them out quietly to those in desperate need, and she asked for absolutely nothing in return. Her refusal to monetize her life literally became the very thing that brought salvation to her community in their absolute darkest hour. True happiness. Eventually, the monsoon passes, but it leaves the villagers with this really profound realization. One rainy afternoon, a group of them finally went up to Amma and asked the question that had been eating at them all along. They said, Amma, why didn't you sell more when you had the chance? Like, why didn't you try to make more money? Her response was absolutely profound. She said, because true happiness isn't about gathering more, it's about loving what we already have and sharing it when the time comes. Amma told them she kept exactly what she needed, and the rest was simply a gift to be shared. And the story actually notes that Poppy the hen clucked softly and snuggled against Amma's feet, like she was in complete agreement. Amma just knew exactly what was enough. So let's distill Amma's wisdom down here. First, we really need to appreciate what we already have. Second, we have to actively choose to share with kindness. Third, we need to recognize that when we lift up others, we're actually lifting ourselves up too. And finally, by doing all these things, we become truly rich. Rich in compassion and rich in peace. You see, these are metrics of wealth that a bank account simply cannot measure. It's a structured, super actionable approach to living a deeply fulfilling life. So I want to leave you with this final thought. What are you needlessly hoarding in your own life right now that could easily be shared? Whether it's your time, your resources, your money, or even your talents, where are you pushing so hard for a third egg when two is already a really generous gift? I want you to think deeply about how you can apply Amma's radical contentment to your own modern life. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer, and I'll catch you next time.